the welfare of the society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this county and the Republic of Kenya. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Kindly confirm whether we have the quorum pursuant to Standing Order 35.
Honorable Speaker, the quorum is not sufficient.
Sergeant Atam, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, the quorum is now present.
Order, honorable members, welcome to today's afternoon session, today 9th November 2023 to 30 p.m. session. We can have the order of business.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable Hassan Kagoni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to move a motion on utilization of market revenue for the facility improvement. Honorable Speaker, aware that the management of markets is a devolved function under the 4th Schedule, Part 2 of the Constitution. Further aware that the markets contribute to the economic development of businesses, persons. Considering that the proper management of markets and market stalls, administration and promotion of effective and efficient operation of markets and market stalls in the county. Noting that since 2013, the county government of Nandi has been collecting revenue from traders and consolidating with other revenue resources of the County Revenue Fund. Noting that the markets and market stalls in the county make a significant role in promoting trade and increasing revenue for the county government. Understanding that the trade industry has a great potential for growth and recognizing the need to promote a healthy, safe, and a friendly environment to conduct business. Cognizant that most markets, shopping centers, and market stalls lack basic amenities such as street lighting, washrooms, properly maintained roads network, drainage, and waste management. And in order to meet the objects of devolution and decentralization of services closer to the people, this House, therefore, resolved that 30% of all revenue collected from markets and market stalls within Nandi County be utilized for the improvement of such facilities within the respective markets, and the Department of Finance and Economic Planning puts in place administrative structures such as the creation of funds and management of committees. Honorable Speaker, this motion is to enhance the markets around Nandi County. In markets, especially right now during the El Nino season or heavy rains, drainage is clogged, power can be cut short because of lack of fuse. This bill allows that the committee that is running the market, the Department of Finance and Economic Planning, creates a policy and put in place administrative measures to allow that committee of the market to run or to utilize 30% of the revenue collected there to do menial jobs that does not require, that will take the county a long time to respond. Hence this motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg this House to support the motion today so that our markets can be viable, friendly, and safe, and that the committee that runs the markets have some money to operate. I ask Honorable Whip to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Have you requested Honorable Majority Whip to? Okay. Well, Honorable members, I'll proceed to propose the question, which is that aware that management of markets is a devolved function and a 4th Schedule, Part 2 of the Constitution. Further, aware that the markets contribute to the economic developments of business persons, considering that the proper management of markets and market stalls, administration and promotion of effective and efficient operation of markets and market stalls in the county, noting that since 2013, the county government of Nandi has been collecting revenue from traders and consolidating with other revenue sources at the County Revenue Fund, noting that markets and market stalls in the county make a significant role in promoting trade and increasing revenue for the county government, understanding that the trade industry has a great potential for growth, recognizing the need to promote a healthy, safe, and friendly environment to conduct business, cognizant that most markets, shopping centers, and market stalls lack basic amenities such as street lighting, washrooms, properly maintained road networks, drainage, and waste management. And in order to meet the objects of devolution of decentralizing services closer to the people, this House therefore resolves that 30% of all the revenues collected from the markets and market stalls within Nandi County be utilized for improvement of such facilities within the respective markets, and the Department of Finance and Economic Planning puts in place administrative structures such as creation of funds and management committees. Honorable members, now that the motion has been moved and seconded, the debate is now open. Honorable Keter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I can contribute towards this motion. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, our markets have been running so smoothly, except some few challenges, Mr. Speaker, sir. Because you find that in markets, there are so many unpredictable items that it can be needed at that particular time. And you find that it is taking us long even to replace a bulb or even maintaining some small or doing even a small hygienic in market. Because if everything will be surrendered to revenue, Mr. Speaker, sir, it will find hard to replace those bulbs and maybe even to do some minor cleanliness, Mr. Speaker, sir. You find that actually maintaining a market or doing some cleanliness, Mr. Speaker, sir, if indeed we will be told before even you buy a soap, you need to make a requisition. It is going to be so hard to maintain the same markets, Mr. Speaker. So indeed, we should urge honorable members to support this because it is way on how we will improve our markets. We will not have some delays or small complaints whenever we have an emergency like lights on how to do some lighting, how to do some cleanliness, buying small, and even packets for rubbish for collections. Sometimes, Mr. Speaker, you go to a market and you are told only a packet of that can be used as a trash. You need to make a requisition and you will wait for 3 months. But this is the way to go because the 30% can be sorted. After all the money will be accounted because the management of the market can be doing. You find so it is so frustrated. Some of our members, we as a member, sometimes we chip in for small things like that, Mr. Speaker. So I urge honorable members to consider that so that this issue of small things to be not being available in our markets, including even a broom for 20 shillings, Mr. Speaker. Imagine coming all the way from the market to come and request for a broom, which will only cost 50 shillings. It is an insult to honorable members. So I urge our motion because indeed it is going to be a problem solver. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Can I have Honorable Sangutei?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support the motion at hand. My contribution is that I'm requesting the Department of Finance and Economic Planning, plus that one of Trade and Industrialization, to give us a clear regulation framework concerning the 30% thereafter, because we can pass this motion today the way it is, then it will give room for embezzlement of funds by those committees in the markets. So we don't want to repeat that mistake. So I'm urging that the Chairman Trade and the Chairman Finance to forward the same, so that the executive, in the other hand, give clear policy, framework, and regulation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion.
Honorable Chairperson, Trade, Honorable Kemboi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, Mr. Speaker, I want to register my support to this motion now that it touches mostly on the department that I chair. So I want to thank Honorable Kagoni, my friend, for coming up with this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to own it up that most markets within the county are actually in dilapidated state. And creating a fund, Mr. Speaker, and management committees from the various markets within our county is an idea which I can say its time has come. And Mr. Speaker, setting aside around the 30% proposed by the motion mover to support in or financing the facilities within the county, that's markets and market stalls within the shopping centers will bring in order or will make our markets within the county very conducive for our traders, Mr. Speaker. Having lights within the markets, Mr. Speaker, will assist a lot in security purposes, and it will enable traders to do their businesses till maybe late into the night, Mr. Speaker. Also, washrooms, Mr. Speaker, funded by the same proposed fund, will also promote hygiene, and that one will, on matters health, will be of great help to the people of this great county. Also, Mr. Speaker, having good access roads, as has been captured by the motion mover, will also assist our traders within the county and also outside the county who are bringing in their produce to the said markets, Mr. Speaker. Also, having good drainages and waste management, as has been said by the speakers earlier, Mr. Speaker, will also aid in promoting hygiene in our markets, Mr. Speaker. So, Honorable Kagoni, my friend, came up with this motion, and I had earlier congratulated him for doing so, though, Mr. Speaker, he never sought or he never consulted me on some of these issues, Mr. Speaker, which I find it weird because I just realized when I was seated here that the motion actually touches mostly matters trade, but it's a good idea, Mr. Speaker, and I do support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Trufosa, thereafter Honorable Rotich Ezra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support this motion brought by Honorable Kagoni, who is my neighbor. For sure, our markets in Nandi County are in pathetic situation. Let me start from far end, Terik Ward, Kabwareng Market. Kabwareng Market is pathetic. No toilet, no dam-side, no drainage, which is very bad indeed for Department of Trade. Come all the way to Sere Market, which is a very big market. It covers 3 counties. Vika County, we have Nandi County, as well as Kakamega County. That market is very big, whereby it needs high totality of cleanness as well as light. Because if you add street lights, people can trade up to late hours and revenue can be collected. Also, ablution blocks, toilets. We don't have toilets in our markets. And revenue is being collected. So it is so shameful, revenue being collected from people, and yet they don't have toilets. So this motion, if we pass it, it will really assist. If you reach Sere market, during market days, you'll find women selling vegetables and whatever direct in the ground. When it rains, like now we have El Nino, you find water sweeping vegetables and whatever, which is so bad. So members, I don't know, maybe by next year when we will get to Water Development Fund, maybe it will affect. Otherwise, if we pass this motion, it will assist so much. And our markets will be in a good state. So members, let's support this motion that our markets in Nandi County will be in a better situation. Thank you so much. I support it.
Yes, Honorable Ezra Rotich.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute to the motion brought forward by Honorable Kagoni Hassan. And Mr. Speaker, before I say if I support or not, Mr. Speaker, allow me to mention some 2-3 things concerning this motion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue that touches on funds is a serious issue that needs to be discussed in detail before making or giving a conclusive report on the same, Mr. Speaker. And allow me to believe that we are not admitting that there are some people who are sleeping on their job, Mr. Speaker, by not renovating, by not ensuring that the market stalls are in a proper state, Mr. Speaker. I'm trying to imagine a situation whereby, Mr. Speaker, a fund account will be open, Mr. Speaker. One, Mr. Speaker, there'll always be a fight between different markets because I'm very sure, Mr. Speaker, if we say all the money that is being collected across all markets are being put into one account, and then the 30% is blown back to those markets, Mr. Speaker. The markets, for example, in Kabwareng, Mr. Speaker, will have collected more, unlike a market maybe in my ward, Mr. Speaker, which at the end of it, Mr. Speaker, will create fights that we in Kabwareng, we collected more, unlike the other ward, which they are supposed to be given more of the same amount, Mr. Speaker. The purpose always of, Mr. Speaker, of consolidating all funds to a revenue account, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure that each and every part of the county is given better chance, is given equal opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that they are being served equally, like the other counties, like the other regions, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the motion is good, Mr. Speaker, but I believe this is not the time to actualize it in detail, Mr. Speaker. This is something that involves funds. We know, Mr. Speaker, for any county to be given shareable revenue from the national government, we must report the on-source revenue to the national government, Mr. Speaker, for them to reflect as on-source revenue, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we are not new in Jerusalem. let's pick an example, Mr. Speaker, Department of Agriculture, where we have committees running the cattle dips, Mr. Speaker. In that scenario, all the revenue collected in those cattle dips, Mr. Speaker, as opposed to blown back to the same cattle dip for them to ensure that there is smooth running of those cattle dips. But as you speak here, Mr. Speaker, I myself, in my ward, I have frequent visitors requesting for support for me to at least get them some money for them to run their activities. The committees there, Mr. Speaker, will have the opportunity to embezzle the government money, Mr. Speaker, which at the end of it, Mr. Speaker, so many audit queries will arise. As I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, this is a good motion, but it needs a serious discussion about it to ensure that we have proper regulation, as said earlier by Deputy Majority Leader. Regulations concerning who will manage the money, who will submit the reports. Because, you know, this is something that touches on an important aspect in our development. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, since this motion is already in the floor, Mr. Speaker, today I stand, Mr. Speaker, to oppose this motion for proper guidelines going forward on matters of finances in our markets, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable, can see Honorable Sarah, thereafter Honorable Sang Matthew.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance also to give an input on this motion. First of all, I thank the motion mover, who is Honorable Kagoni from Kabwareng ward. So I should thank him for being observant, seeing what is happening in the market, which is adjacent to ISOM, that is Serem. And I think the same thing also applies to all markets that we have. So when we look at it, let's say it is not only the markets. Putting a structure is easy for us to put a structure, but maintenance is a problem. You find in our markets, maybe there are stalls which are put there, maybe there are toilets which are there, but we find that maintenance is a problem. And it is because of these committees also. They should be sitting and seeing how best they can maintain all the structures they have in their markets. The problem now is that all the monies is being taken and brought back to the central place, and they remain with none. My question is, how much is this 30%? Can this be enough for maintenance of all the markets? At the same time, having a committee to be in charge of public money, it is not easy. Even if you go to these big institutions, always we have a tendency of saying this is a government money. That money is not yours. So I think it is good to maintain the markets, but we should look for a way, the best way we can have money for maintenance in those markets. I come from Kosrai ward. We have open air markets, no structures, and revenues are being collected from those places. And the question is that there is no land to put structures. And the county government is collecting a lot of revenue from those markets. So when we talk of money to maintain, in Chepterit market, we have nothing to maintain. We don't have those structures. No toilets, no water, and no stalls. So if the money is retained 30%, there's nothing to be maintained in that market because already the structures are not there. So there's nothing to be maintained. And that market needs a lot of money, to purchase even land for them, millions, maybe over 30 millions. So is the 30% enough for a market like Kiptirit, which has no structures? Okay, the motion is good, the idea is good, but how best can we make sure that the 30% that needs to be retained in those markets for maintenance will be well managed? From experience, from my own experience, some other things at times, it is not easy. If we have these committees in our markets, I think the best thing they can do is to always come up with the maintenance things to be maintained, and then they channel it to the county so that they can bring back the money for them now for maintenance. And in county government, there's nothing that can be done without tendering and whatever. So are the committee having the capacity of tendering all those maintenance? Because this is a public money, you cannot just get the money and do whatever you want to do. It should go through various stages. So actually, the idea is good, but we have to think about it first of all and to see how best we can do it. Otherwise, for now, I can say I don't support it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sang Matthew.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mine is to thank Honorable Kagoni for coming up with this motion. You know, it's not easy for us all to think of the same thing. And for me, it is timely. And for my case, I take it same as the FIF fund, that is the Facility Improvement Fund, which was passed in the same house to assist in improving in retaining, that is to retain some amount within the facilities for the improvement of the same facility. Though I might find it the amount being too little, because what we collect in our markets might not really do much, but it would assist for the small issues, for instance, cleaning of the market, making drainages in the same market, so that the market runs itself. So for me, I believe that also the same could be used in ensuring that you find some residents come to us requesting for opportunities. You find that they ask them for cleaning jobs, which the same committee, the market committee that is there, you can redirect the same concerns to the same committees so that they can see on how to utilize the same fund. So for me, this one I really support, and though most members would feel that we would need more time to internalize the same and come up with something that they really understand. But there is nothing much to understand here. It's just a matter of a request from us, me being part of the support of the same motion, as well as Honorable Kagoni, so that we can have those issues that might be seen as petty but they are very key in improving the hygiene of our markets. So mine, Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Well, Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise also to support the motion, Mr. Speaker, and I want to congratulate the member for Kabwareng for this noble idea, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think, although I was not in the mind of the honorable member, I want to believe that this is a concept of decentralization, Mr. Speaker. And when I heard the members who are opposing the same, Mr. Speaker, when we talk of Ward Development Fund, Mr. Speaker, it means we are decentralizing the services. So, Mr. Speaker, you cannot talk of Ward Development Fund in another forum where you want to take money to the decision making to the one inch at the ward level. Yet when it comes to matters markets, you want it to be operated in the county level, Mr. Speaker. So it's contradict, Mr. Speaker. So if we believe in decentralization, Mr. Speaker, this is the best decentralization means, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also happen to sit in the Committee of Trade. And Mr. Speaker, we have the Market Committee. And Mr. Speaker, when we are going through the policy on Market Committee, some of the qualification for to be among the Market Committee member, we require even academic qualification, Mr. Speaker. So I was wondering if we have a competent Market Committee where we have qualified people, including even members of the religious institution, Mr. Speaker, what will be their role if they have no funds, Mr. Speaker? Because one, I wanted to see this motion as a way of motivating our markets, Mr. Speaker, so that the more you collect, the more you retain, Mr. Speaker. So it will prompt the committees, the market committees to be aggressive in terms of collection of revenue. Because if you collect, for example, 30,000, Mr. Speaker, 30% of that will remain in that bucket. And you know, most of the work in those markets, Mr. Speaker, like digging, for example, a dustbin, you cannot wait for the county government to come and dig a dustbin, Mr. Speaker. So if this committee in the market are empowered, Mr. Speaker, they'll do a lot of work. First, we are trying to fight the menace of illicit brew, Mr. Speaker. And why these market committees were put in place when we were developing the illicit brew bill, Mr. Speaker, is because for a part to be open, Mr. Speaker, it is the same market committee that will approve the license, Mr. Speaker. So I believe, Mr. Speaker, we are killing two birds with one stone, Mr. Speaker, by empowering this committee. So the only challenge I see, Mr. Speaker, of which I ended up thinking, was if we digitalize the collection of revenue. Maybe markets will be given different codes. For example, Kaptumo market will have its own code because we have the same revenue collection officers. So that if a revenue of 100 shillings is collected in Kaptumo, they input a code so that they know this is for Kaptumo. The revenue for Serem will be different. So that at the same time, the money is not in conflict as alluded by the first speakers, Mr. Speaker, where they are saying there will be conflict. I don't see any conflict, Mr. Speaker, because whatever is collected in a particular market remains, 30% is retained for that market, Mr. Speaker. And I believe our markets will be better because, Mr. Speaker, it's the scenario we are in is a worse situation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, during the last Mashujaa Day, the President was categorical that even the health sector, and he came out clearly that even the small health centers and dispensaries in our wards, they have been given powers to utilize resources collected that they are. That's why, Mr. Speaker, going forward, lack of medicines and medical supplies in our counties will be thing of the past because revenue being collected at the local dispensary is being utilized to buy maybe medicine on those dispensaries. But, Mr. Speaker, because of the bureaucracies, that's why you find our markets are not competitive, Mr. Speaker, because they collect all the revenues, then they don't have services offered. Like what Honorable Fosa was saying. With this El Nino race, you as you are walking, you meet with mangoes along the road being carried by water. You meet with cabbages because our facilities are not up to standard, Mr. Speaker. But if we have a market committee in place, that director will have the powers to to face the committee, Mr. Speaker, if there is no services offered. So I want to support this motion. And Mr. Speaker, the members should understand that a motion is just a prayer from the County Assembly urging the executive to look in those lines. So it's not a matter of life and death that when we pass this motion, it will be implemented the following day. It's a matter of suggesting. And I want to say the honorable member has gone even further ahead and suggested that the Department for Finance and Economic Planning put in place administrative structure. These are the policies now which will inform, Mr. Speaker, this decision. So members should not be afraid of passing the motions, because whether a motion is implemented or not, Mr. Speaker, it's upon the executive to implement. So members should not be worried that we pass this motion and it will not be implemented. But Mr. Speaker, it will advise now the concerned department to implement. But Mr. Speaker, this is a good idea, and it will make our markets to be competitive, Mr. Speaker, and we'll get value for money. One, we'll motivate markets to compete in collecting of revenue. And by doing so, Mr. Speaker, we will raise the power of our own source revenue, because each market, the committee in place will strive to collect more, so that, because it's per percent, Mr. Speaker. A market that collects small percentage means they get small percentage. But for example, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member for Kosirai, we have a market in Jepterit, the one for trading house, Mr. Speaker. They collect a lot of revenue. So, Mr. Speaker, what is the essence of doing a lot, collecting a lot, yet we don't have quality? Maybe in return we don't get similar services in return, Mr. Speaker. So, I encourage that we pass this motion and leave it to the concerned department, Mr. Speaker, to implement the same. Mr. Speaker, when the honorable member for the chairman for health was skeptical about this bill, Mr. Speaker.
Information, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tarbey, you want to be informed by the honorable member from Kosirai?
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member is a well-informed teacher, and I believe the information she will give me will be beneficial, Mr. Speaker, so I allow.
Okay, well, Honorable Sarah Mutwal.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, I've raised up to inform Honorable Tarbi that the yard at Chepterit is private. It is owned by a private owner, and the owner is really maintaining that yard. There even, we have another pollution. There is water there. Even those who want to take bath after sweating, it has even a bathroom there. So it is well maintained, that one, because it is private. So county government is just collecting a small percentage. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Tarbe, you may proceed. I believe you're now well informed.
I'm well informed, Mr. Speaker. The honorable member is even assisting me to paint a good picture, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one individual running a yard is able to maintain and over services like shower, Mr. Speaker. Yet the county government, Mr. Speaker, with all its employees, you find our messes. That's why we need to go back, Mr. Speaker. This is a way, a kind of, if I would call it privatization, Mr. Speaker. If this will give service delivery to the people of Nandi, Mr. Speaker, then we better go the same way, Mr. Speaker. Because if you can see a yard being run by an individual is best performing, yet a market, and the entire market of Jefterit is not raising enough revenue, Mr. Speaker, then it means, Mr. Speaker, the president normally says, it's only a fool who does things the same time and expect different results, Mr. Speaker. So if we need to change this county, Mr. Speaker, then we have to do even the extraordinary by empowering the market committees, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support.
Honorable Kirwa Mainde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I will wish to thank the member for bringing up this motion. It's a very good and ideal motion that can guide and assist our electorate. Most of our markets in our respective wards collect a lot of revenue. And as a member, as I crisscross 30 ward, I find it weird when you find that basic needs of those markets has not been attained at. Like toilets, and also some small drainage to be done there. And also, this one will enable the members of the public to pay more revenue to our county. Because our revenue officers who are on the ground, they find a lot of challenges. If we go and audit, there is a leeway that they go in and assist in cleaning all those areas there for the purpose of allowing them to collect revenue. So I urge this house that if there is any amount to be given to those committees in the markets, they be empowered, they be monitored. I think there is change that can be achieved through there. And the committees that will be forming, they are our youths who need job. And that also will assist the job creation on our youths from that level. And at the same thing, how can you collect revenue from them? And giving them to manage is an issue. Yet upon collecting, nothing has been done for the whole year, 2 years, 3 years. And they are dipping in their pockets. And what they need is only basic needs that you have been given by Honorable Sarah Mutualia. That the member who is only a private has toilets, has water. And the same place in our markets, we collect revenue. I think we can give chance. We task the Committee of Finance and Trade. They come up with policies that can assist the same way whereby our health department is coming up on how they can manage the revenue. One thing is that I hail from Nandi, whereby we border Viga. You can find a member of county assemblies from the other part telling them that through the code that they are paying their revenue, he will come and challenge the Department of Finance that they acquire street light for them, or that one light for the market to assist them. And he can come and challenge, this is what I have collected, this is what my people need. It will give us a leeway, as members of county assembly, to go and task them that within my place, like Chepterit, Sarah can petition that all the revenue that have been collecting from all over, even all over along the road, these people need a market. There's a room that a member can come and argue and request for those services to be given to our Nainji. Another thing is that if guidance will be given to those people, the committee, and knowledge of information on how they can manage, I think there is nothing impossible. And we are heading to devolution. All these things should be devolved. And I think we will not run away from it. The only issue is that we enable this to run and we engage the public so that they can improve on our market collection. Finally, I can give an example that I happened to visit Kabwareng market, and I found out that they don't even have disinfectants to clean the toilet. And I had to chip in. And if the market committee could be there, those are the issues that the common manager could be putting them to task so that they can do it. I stand to support vividly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Kerich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I first want to stand to support this motion brought by Honorable Kagoni, the member of Kabwareng Ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think this motion is in line with the drafters of the Constitution, whereby resources needs to be devolved to the smallest unit. Mr. Speaker, sir, in his motion, the honorable member has actually talked of effective and efficient way of administering the markets. Mr. Speaker, sir, anything to be effective and efficient, it needs resources. These markets cannot be managed without resources, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, it is actually this motion, to me, will solve most of the issues, like the issue of washrooms, the issue of drainage works, the issues even to do with the waste management. It will actually solve, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my only worry is that So far, this House has actually passed around 4 to 5 motions. We had a motion by the Honorable Member from Kapchorwa. We had a motion by the Honorable Member from Kemela Maraba. We had also a motion from the Honorable Member from Songo Soba. And until to date, we don't have any feedback on the implementation of these motions, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I want to differ with Honorable Tarbey that a motion like this is suggesting to the executive whether to implement or not to implement. When we are in this House, Mr. Speaker, we are representatives of the people. And any idea that we feel right to be done to the people, it is not a request. The moment it has been brought to the floor of this House and it has been debated and approved by this House, I think the executive has no option but to implement, Mr. Speaker. The only challenge that we have is the bureaucracies that are there. As we are speaking, Mr. Speaker, I have been told the F5 bill has been is somehow being punctured, not to operate as it was intended, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the worst problem, we are doing our part, and I want to request honorable members, we need to change the strategy so that we don't just come here, bring motions, bring bills, and then at the end of the day, it is not felt back at the ground. I think we need to change the strategy so that we are seen to be working and representing the people as it should be. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the honorable member for bringing in this motion. The only challenge now, it will come to the implementation of the same. And we wish, and I wish, that we make sure that all the motions that have been approved by this House, we make sure that they are being implemented, because it is to the benefit of people of Nandi. The benefit is to the people of Nandi. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support, and I also request that we also have the feedback on the various motions that we've approved in this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Hassan, would you wish to make a right of reply?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I do. Honorable members, the evolution of the drafters of the Constitution decided that services need to be decentralized and bring close to the people, hence the term devolution. This bill is not only timely, especially during this time of rains. During this time of the rains, is very timely on the utilization of market revenue to facilitate improvement of the respective markets. Our job, honorable members, as representative of the people, is to make their life easier, to make their life unbearable, and to improve the livelihood of the markets. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, in this motion, Mr. Speaker, I've asked the Department of Finance and Economic Planning to put administrative measures in place to ensure that the funds that are given to them at the committee, at the management committee of the market, of the respective market, is manageable, trackable, and accountable, so that small issues that arises in market can be resolved. So these address the issues of honorable member from Koyondurio that fears management of the market will not be good. Honorable Speaker, we have the tea committee, which manages the cess fund, that is managed by the committee on tea. We have the sugar committee that manages the cess, and there is no issues. The department has put in place measures to ensure that those funds are managed by those committees. For the members who are skeptical, why are we so skeptical on the management of the markets of the committee that is there? Yet the cess for tea is being managed by a committee, cess for sugar is being managed by the committee. We're just empowering the committee members of the market to be able to manage the small issues that are coming to members of county assembly to address. Because when you collect revenue from a market and you cannot even open a drainage, when you collect revenue from a market, you can't buy a disinfectant to clean the toilet because you have to request the county government all the way from the end of Kisumu, requesting the county government in Kapsabet to buy you disinfectant to clean the toilet. And they tell you to request, which you have to go through the request, tendering and everything, just to buy a disinfectant. Honorable members, I don't think that is what the drafters of the Constitution were asking. This bill gives them that, this motion gives the Department of Finance and Economic Planning an opportunity to do a policy and put in place regulations. This is what they're here to do, to put in place these regulations so that those markets can be manageable. Honorable members, we should be problem solvers. We're here to solve problems of the people when they come to us. This is one way of solving the problem. Not for us to go to our pockets and give and buy disinfectant when every market day the county government has employees there to collect revenue. As problem solvers, we're coming up with ways to bridge the gap. Honorable members, I ask you today to support this motion so that the Department of Finance can come up with policy and regulations and committee markets so that each market, whichever it contributes, 30% remains in the respective market. So that if a market in Kabwareng ward collects 30,000, 30% of that remains to that respective market. If in Kurgong you collect 2,000, 30% of that money remains in that market because of the ability of that market to perform. I think, honorable member from Kurgong, this will motivate you to go and tell your people to be going to markets and doing revenue. Honorable members, I ask you today to support this motion so that we can solve problems that are being brought about by our markets. As much as we are contributing to sources, we are part of the sources of revenue, we could also be sources of making the life easier for the markets. During this rainy season, those small clogs of drainages that can be done in 2 seconds and you give somebody 100 shillings from the market can be done. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Proceed to put the question, which is that aware that the management of markets is a devolved function under the 4th schedule, part 2 of the Constitution. Further, aware that markets contribute to the economic development of business, considering that the proper management of markets and market stalls, administration and promotion of effective and efficient operation of markets and market stalls in the county, noting that since 2013, the county government of Nandi has been collecting revenue from traders and consolidating with other revenue sources at the county revenue fund, noting that markets and market stalls in the county make a significant role in promoting the trade and increasing the revenue for the county government, understanding that the trade industry has a great potential for growth, recognizing the need to promote a healthy, safe, and friendly environment to conduct business, and cognizant that most markets, shopping centers, and market stalls lack basic amenities such as street lighting, washrooms, properly maintained road networks, drainage, and waste management. And in order to meet the objects of devolution of decentralizing services closer to the people, this House therefore resolves that 30% of all the revenue collected from the markets and market stalls within Nandi County be utilized for improvement of such facilities within the respective markets, and the Department of Finance and Economic Planning puts in place administrative structures such as creation of funds and management committees. Will as many as of similar opinion say ayes?
Aye.
And will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, there be no other prayer on the order of business today. This House stands adjourned till the next sitting day.